Imagine you are standing in your kitchen, the champagne is on ice. The sold sign is going up outside your house. You have found a buyer, the price is agreed, and you are ready to move on to your dream home. Then the phone rings. It is your solicitor. His voice is flat, serious. He says, "The sale has collapsed. The buyer's bank has refused the mortgage. In fact, no bank will lend on this property." You panic. You ask why. Is it subsidence? Is it damp? No. He tells you, it is the solar panels. You are confused. You had those installed 10 years ago. They were free. They save you money on electricity. How can they be the problem? The solicitor pauses and delivers the knockout blow. You think you own this house? Check the deeds. You signed a lease. You gave away the rights to your roof for 25 years. You do not own the airspace above your head, and until you buy it back, your house is technically unsellable. Welcome to the rent-a-roof scandal. This is the ticking time bomb sitting on top of over 100,000 homes across the United Kingdom. Between 2010 and 2015, a green gold rush swept the nation. Companies knocked on doors offering free solar panels. They promised lower bills. They promised to save the planet. It sounded too good to be true, and it was. What they didn't explain in the sales pitch was that you weren't just getting free technology. You were signing a 25-year binding lease that effectively handed over control of your roof to a third-party corporation. Now, 10 years later, as homeowners try to sell or remortgage, the chickens are coming home to roost. Banks are blacklisting these properties. Surveyors are valuing them at zero. And the solar companies? They are holding homeowners to ransom, demanding tens of thousands of pounds to terminate the lease. In this video, I am going to expose the legal trap that has turned green energy into a financial nightmare. I will explain exactly how the lease of airspace works and why it terrifies mortgage lenders like Halifax and Santander. I will reveal the maintenance trap, what happens when your roof leaks underneath panels you are legally forbidden to touch. And I will explain why the feed-in tariff was the real motivation behind this, creating a billion-pound industry built on the ignorance of homeowners. You absolutely must watch this video until the very last second. Do not skip a single chapter, because in the second half of this video, I am going to hand you the escape route. I will explain the deed of variation, the specific legal document you need to force the solar company to sign to satisfy the banks. I will reveal the buyout formula to calculate exactly how much it should cost to buy the panels outright so you don't get ripped off. And I will give you the buyer's checklist. 3 questions you must ask before buying any house with panels to ensure you aren't inheriting a legal disaster. If you leave early, you are leaving your property's value in the hands of a corporation that only cares about its bottom line. Stick around, because part 2 is your legal survival guide. Before we climb onto the roof to dismantle this scam, I have a massive favour to ask. The renewable energy companies have huge PR teams trying to bury these stories. They want you to believe everything is fine. We are the only channel brave enough to read the fine print. Please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. It takes 2 seconds. It costs you absolutely nothing, but it helps us break through the algorithm and warn more families before they sign their property rights away. Thank you. Now, let's look at why your roof doesn't belong to you. To understand this mess, we have to go back to 2010. The government introduced the feed-in tariff, FIT. This was a subsidy that paid people for generating electricity. The rates were incredibly high back then. If you generated solar power, you got paid, regardless of whether you used it. Suddenly, private equity firms saw an opportunity. They created solar companies that weren't really energy companies. They were investment funds. Their model was simple. We will install the panels for free on Mrs. Smith's roof. Mrs. Smith gets the free electricity during the day. We, the company, get the feed-in tariff payments from the government. It seemed like a win-win. Mrs. Smith saves £300 a year on bills. The company makes £1,000 a year in subsidies. But to secure those subsidies for 25 years, the company needed security. They couldn't just stick panels on a roof and hope Mrs. Smith didn't take them down. So, they created the solar lease. When you signed up for the free panels, you signed a lease granting the company exclusive possession of your roof space and the airspace above it for 25 years. Technically, this turned your freehold house into a flying freehold nightmare. You own the walls, you own the kitchen, you own the land. But you do not own the roof tiles. You have a tenant living on your roof, and unlike a normal tenant, you cannot evict them. This lease runs with the land. If you die, your children inherit the lease. If you sell, the buyer must take on the lease. And this is where the market crashes. The problem is the Council of Mortgage Lenders, CML guidelines. Banks are very risk-averse. When a bank lends you money to buy a house, they need to know that if you stop paying, they can repossess the house and sell it easily. The rent-a-roof lease destroys that security. Why? Because many of these early leases were written by cowboys. They are full of clauses that banks hate. Problem number 1. The repossession clause. A standard mortgage agreement says the bank has first priority on the property. But many solar leases fail to give the bank the right to remove the panels or terminate the lease if they repossess the home. The bank looks at this and says, if we have to repossess this house, we are stuck with this solar company for another 15 years. We can't develop the property, we can't extend into the loft, and we can't guarantee the roof is safe. Too risky. Declined. Problem number 2. The maintenance trap. This is the physical reality that is bankrupting people. Roofs don't last forever. Tiles slip, felt rots, underlay tears. If you need to repair your roof, you have to take the panels off, but under the lease, you are strictly forbidden from touching the panels. You have to ask the solar company for permission. And here is the kicker. Many of these leases allow the company to charge you a removal and reinstallation fee. We have seen cases where a homeowner had a leak causing damp in the bedroom. To fix it, they needed to move 4 panels. The solar company quoted them £5,000 just to take the panels off and put them back on. The actual roof repair only cost £200. The homeowner couldn't afford the £5,000, so the roof kept leaking, the ceiling collapsed, and the house value plummeted. And if you try to remove them yourself, that is a breach of lease. They can sue you for damages and lost income. You are held hostage by the equipment on your own house. Problem number 3. The missing landlord. This is becoming the biggest issue in 2026. The companies that installed these panels in 2012, companies like A Shade Greener or Project Solar, often sold these leases on. They bundled thousands of leases together and sold them to pension funds, hedge funds, or offshore investment vehicles. Then, the original installation company went bust. So, you are trying to sell your house. The buyer's solicitor asks, "We need the solar company to sign a deed of variation to satisfy the bank." You try to call the number on your contract. The line is dead. The company doesn't exist. You search company's house. They were dissolved in 2018. Who owns your roof? You don't know. It might be a shell company in the Cayman Islands. Without a contact point, you cannot get the necessary paperwork signed. The sale is dead in the water. Your house is effectively frozen because you cannot find the tenant to negotiate with. Let's talk about the cash buyer market. Because banks like HSBC, Nationwide, Santander are so strict on these leases, many estate agents are now listing these homes as cash buyers only. When you limit your market to cash buyers, you instantly wipe 20 to 30% off the value of your home. A cash buyer knows you are desperate. They know you can't get a mortgage. They will lowball you, so So that free electricity that saved you £3,000 over 10 years is now costing you £50,000 in lost property value. It is the most expensive free gift in history, and it gets darker. Let's look at the buyout extortion. Some homeowners realise the only way to sell is to terminate the lease and buy the panels. They finally track down the solar company and ask, how much to end the contract? The company does a calculation. They calculate how much money they would have made from the feed-in tariff for the next 15 years. They add on administrative fees. They add on loss of profit. And they come back with a figure. £20,000. £25,000. Remember, these are 10-year-old panels. The technology is obsolete. New panels cost maybe £5,000, but they are asking for £25,000 because they are not selling you the panels. They are selling you back your freedom. They know you have a buyer waiting. They know you are desperate to move. It is essentially legal blackmail. Pay us a fortune or lose your sale. There is also a massive misconception about accreditation. People think, oh, the company was MCS certified, so it must be fine. MCS covers the technical installation. It does not cover the legal lease. The government regulator, Ofgem, regulates the energy payments, but they do not regulate the property law aspect. The Financial Conduct Authority, FCA, has cracked down on some mis-selling, but for leases signed in 2011 or 2012, there is very little protection. You signed a contract. In the eyes of the law, you agreed to this. We are also seeing a new wave of issues with battery storage. Solar companies are now contacting these trapped homeowners and saying, hey, sign a new contract for a battery and we will update your lease. Be very, very careful. Often, this extends the lease term. If you had 10 years left, signing for a battery might reset the clock to another 25 years. Do not sign anything without a solicitor. You are digging the hole deeper, but knowing the trap is only half the battle. Now, we need to talk about how to dismantle it. If you are stuck in one of these leases, or if you are looking to buy a house that has one, this next section is your roadmap to freedom. Let's start with the golden ticket for mortgage lenders. The Council of Mortgage Lenders, or CML Certificate. When the solar scandal first broke, the banks realised they had a problem. They didn't want to ban all solar homes, but they couldn't accept the risky leases. So, the Council of Mortgage Lenders created a standardised template. It is a specific legal document that overrides the bad clauses in the original lease. If you are selling, your solicitor needs to send this template to the solar company immediately. Do not ask them if they will sign it. Demand it. This certificate forces the solar company to agree to two critical things. If the bank repossesses the house, the bank has the right to terminate the lease and remove the panels. The solar company cannot hold the bank liable for any damage. Most of the large, surviving solar companies, like a shade greener, are now used to this. They will sign it because they know if they don't, the house can't be sold. And if the house isn't sold, eventually the roof might crumble and they lose their panels anyway. Getting this certificate signed is often enough to get a high street lender like Halifax or Nationwide to say, yes. But be warned, they might charge you an administration fee of £200 or £300 to sign it. Pay it. It is worth it to get the sale through. But what if the company is gone? What if you are in the missing landlord scenario I mentioned in part 1? This is where Indemnity Insurance saves the day. If you cannot find the solar company because they went bust in 2016, your solicitor can purchase a solar panel indemnity policy. This is an insurance product that protects the buyer and the mortgage lender. Basically, if the ghost company ever reappears and tries to sue the new owner for a breach of lease, the insurance pays the legal costs and damages. This policy usually costs between £100 and £400. It is a one-off payment. If you are the seller, you should offer to pay this immediately. It is a small price to pay to calm the nerves of the buyer's solicitor. However, remember that indemnity insurance only covers legal liability. It does not fix the roof. If the roof is leaking under the panels, the insurance won't pay for tiles. It only pays for lawyers. Now, let's talk about the buyout negotiation. If you decide you want to terminate the lease entirely, which is the best option to add value to your home, do not accept their first price. The solar company will quote you a figure based on future loss of income. They assume the panels will work perfectly for another 15 years. But you can challenge this using the depreciation argument. You need to argue 3 points. Degradation. Solar panels lose efficiency every year. A 10-year-old system is not generating the same electricity as it did in 2012. Therefore, their future income figures are inflated. Maintenance costs. The company is liable for maintaining the panels. By terminating the lease, you are saving them the cost of future inverter replacements, which are expensive and usually fail after 10 years. You should deduct these saved costs from the buyout price. Net present value. Money today is worth more than money in 15 years. You need to demand a discounted cash flow calculation. If they ask for £20,000, offer them £8,000. Tell them the system is aging, the inverter is out of warranty, and you are saving on maintenance liability. If they refuse, threaten to report them to the Financial Ombudsman for unfair contract terms. Many of these companies are terrified of regulatory scrutiny. We have seen buyout figures drop by 50% when a homeowner pushes back with a professional surveyor's valuation. Now, a critical warning for buyers. If you're looking at a house with panels, do not trust the estate agent. Agents often don't understand the difference between owned and leased. Here is your 3-point checklist before you make an offer. Ask for the MCS certificate. If the name on the certificate is a company, not the homeowner, it is likely a lease. Check the land registry title. Ask your solicitor to check the title deeds immediately. Is there a lease of airspace registered? If yes, read it. Does it have a break clause? Most don't. Inspect the roof structure. Get a surveyor to look specifically at the rafters. Solar panels are heavy. Many free installations were done quickly without strengthening the roof. 10 years of extra weight can cause the roof to sag, called bowing. If the roof structure is compromised, walk away. You are buying a structural collapse waiting to happen. Finally, we need to address the green guilt. Many people feel bad about removing panels. They think they are hurting the planet. Listen to me. You are not. These rent-a-roof schemes were not about saving the planet. They were about harvesting subsidies, the SEERs. Technology is now old. If you can buy out the lease and own the system, great. But if the lease is toxic, removing the panels and restoring the full freehold rights to your home is the most environmentally sustainable thing you can do for your financial future. You can always install new, modern, owned panels later. Panels that you control, that add value to your home, and that don't scare away banks. The rent-a-roof era was the Wild West of British renewables. The cowboys have ridden off into the sunset with the cash, leaving you with the headache. But by using the CML Certificate, Indemnity Insurance, and aggressive negotiation, you can reclaim your home. I want to know your story. Are you trapped in a solar lease? Did you lose a buyer because of it? Or did you successfully buy out the contract? Leave a comment below. The more we share the names of the difficult companies, the more power we have. And please, if this video saved you from a 25-year mistake, hit that like button. It helps us fight the algorithm. Make sure you are subscribed. In my next video, I am going to expose the EPC trap, why the government's new energy efficiency targets could make it illegal to rent or sell your home unless you spend £30,000 on upgrades. You cannot afford to miss that. Until then, check your deeds, watch your roof, and I will see you in the next one.